Hey everyone, this is Steve Scapes. Welcome to part 2 of the Master Skills series. In the first episode, I built a miniature replica of my 2023 Aquascape, Echoes of the Pali, in this 45cm rimless tank from UNS, using contra soil, lava gravel, and silicone to make a putty to craft ridges and connect stone into a seamless underwater mountain range. This layout was inspired by the valley mountain ridges of my hometown in Hawaii. In this second episode, we'll talk about how I planned this hardscape and the techniques I have invented for bringing my imagination into reality. In the previous video, I talked about using a clear plastic to protect the inside of the glass, but I mentioned that there's another use for it in design. This is a tool that helps me to see. I'm not the first to talk about drawing notes on glass to plan an aquascape, but in this Master Skills series, we take that idea a step beyond. The technique is to attach a second clear plastic sheet to the outside, the front of the aquarium, and use this to draw planning notes on it. For easy editing, I use whiteboard pen and eraser. Works like a charm for quick modification and multiple colors for different notation types. We'll get back to the content of notes later. First, regarding using a sheet, this has several advantages over just drawing on glass. The most important is relative permanence of notes. You could keep them forever, even after the scape is finished if you want, and being able to easily remove them as well. This was a technique I created back in 2018 for my second serious IAPLC entry, Butterfly Hideaway, World Rank 5. It was when I was still most inexperienced in contestscaping and most dependent on my drawing skills. As I hardscaped, I found myself wishing for a capability extremely useful in Photoshop, the ability to use multiple layers. For those unfamiliar with working in similar image software, layers are like separate drawing surfaces. They are like stacked paper, or, because each layer is at first clear, like stacked clear plastic sheets. And in Photoshop, having multiple layers lets you stack, illustrate, and edit different pieces separately, making composite images. They also allow you to easily use first layers as sketches to be refined into layers that go above in more detailed and effective outlines or coloring or other functions. Wanting to recreate this ability gave me the idea to use the sheet this way. Knowing that we often attach backgrounds to the back side of the aquarium, I knew something similar could be done to the front. In planning, this technique works the same in scaping as it does in Photoshop. Freely and easily attach and detach the notes, refine them to the actual space of the aquarium, and also easily preserve and edit the notes sketches. Detaching is important, allowing the scaper to see the real space without the hindrance of sketches, see the material itself for what it is becoming, and see details better as well. Being able to then quickly flip the notes back on for comparison is the key here. As to what one actually draws in the notes, many folks have seen scapers draw guidelines over a scape, such as golden ratio lines and key points, but more can be done. Of course, outlines of a desired design, but also use colors to distinguish light from shadow and contrast between them. This is extremely important to designate points of important contrast. Here I train to trust my eyes, light and dark, large and small, thick and thin. In previous videos, I've mentioned the idea of see, don't look, the concept of turning off your mind's interpretation to objectively analyze what you see. Using the clear sheet notes to their fullest potential requires this ability to see, because translating 2D sketch into 3D hardscape will require proper judgment of size, placement, and distance. How to objectively match image to real material. This technique can train the mind to see, learning through matching what correct placement is, because free from what your mind subjectively thinks is correct in its interpretation. Often the result is learning a need for greater risk, finding that small things need to be much smaller, crushing and assembling material to match, and big things must be much, much bigger, and the aquascaper must be unafraid of huge materials and difficult, risky placements. After 2018 and 2019 though, I tried to rely on this technique less and less. Train the confidence to look for the opportunity to improve on the original visions from the sketchwork in the process of hardscaping. I did not want to fall into what I perceived as a trap of over-reliance and an innate limitation to potential creativity. In hardscaping, we are inevitably further into the process of the scape's timeline, and therefore might very well be more wise, studied, and insightful than when we were during sketching. Furthermore, solutioning parts of the design in hardscaping with real material means better ability to come up with what feels like an aquascaper's solution to good design over what might feel like an illustrator's. So especially between 2021 and 2022, I opted not to use sheets notes completely, choosing only to look at the material for itself. And I think this is valuable to test different methods in order to keep growing. But for the 2023 layout, I pushed the sketch technique to its next level, this time by committing even further to the original design. This sketch came out of an intensive month and a half of training with Fukada-san to develop my senses further, and I wanted to recreate it as faithfully as possible. So to that end, I unsealed this technique and did something extra. I had the original computer sketch printed onto paper. Big paper, full size, matching the face of the aquarium exactly, and then placed the paper on the aquarium and the clear sheet on it, tracing the original sketch onto the clear sheet, getting all the most important line information, contrast, annotating dark and light, and everything I could to get from the original drawing. This is what allowed for such a faithful recreation. In this Master Skills series, we are explaining the how, but in truth, the how is always shallow compared to the what. Figuring out how to create any scape one could imagine. It's a prerequisite, it's a first step, entrance to the door. True mastery is found in search of the what it is that you are inspired to create. But that is an individual journey one must find oneself. Aquascaping is an adventure. If you liked this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more from the Master Skills series. The next in the series will probably feature another demonstration of a previous work. If there's a scape you want me to choose, leave me a comment. Ultum Nature can get me the supplies I need to make any of those. Also, check out episode 1 if you haven't yet. Until next time, take it easy.